Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the stream. Some big market developments over the past couple of days, which have been super interesting. Market's starting to now move, starting to see risk on back into the market, which we discussed as well. So the likes of pound yen starting to push back to the upside. CAD yen, I actually was long CAD yen recently. Just taken profits at the 108 handle, but I was down at the 107.85. So yeah, been enjoying some of that risk on profit again. So still seeing some moves to the upside here on CAD yen. That looks likely to continue, but going to kick it off with the dollar index as always. Going to go through kind of what's going on in that market. We've got cable to talk about as well. Huge developments on cable. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But yeah, we'll see how we get on as usual. I want to give you as much information as possible. Let me know what you guys are trading as well. Let me know if you're joining me for the stream today. If you can leave the stream a like, that would really help the channel. If you're not subscribed and you're watching, then hit that subscribe button. Hi, Roberto. Hi, Vincent. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? Hi, Fransua. Hope you're well. Yeah, you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can now also watch us on TikTok. So if you do have TikTok, make sure you head over to TikTok and watch our content over there as well. Hi, Cam. Hope you're good. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes or so before we get going. Just give everyone an opportunity that wants to jump in, that can jump in, say hello. If you have any questions as well, guys, as we're going through, just let me know. Hi, Peter Paul. Cam wants to re-enter GJ long, awaiting a pullback. Yep, that's the sensible thing to do. Wait for that pullback. Interesting pair pound yen though, because obviously we've got the dynamics of the Bank of England hiking interest rates, but then you've got the also dynamic of the Bank of Japan not looking to hike, and they're sticking to their sort of super low monetary policy statement. I think this is being driven more by yen than the pound, because obviously we can see that pound at the moment, well, especially against the dollar because the dollar strengthened, but we're starting to see that sort of slight downward movement. If we go take a look at the likes of what will give us a better indication of pound at the moment, probably something like a euro pound will probably give us a better indication of what's going on in the pound market at this current moment in time, because obviously the euro against the pound, really big sort of currency pair to watch. And you can see that if we just go back to that hourly, we've had a bit of a sort of mixed move there. So some slight pound strength if we look at it from this term of view of euro pound. But really speaking, it's all just been a bit sideways, because the problem is there's almost like a catch-22 of what's going on at the moment. You've got the Bank of England saying that they've got to fight inflation. CPI came in at 8.7% again. So that was bad news for the Bank of England. They almost had to use interest rates to hike, to they see interest rates as probably one of the only tools to bring inflation down. The only problem is it's not really been bringing inflation down, has it? The way they've been acting. So they're in a bit of a situation now where I think we talked about this on Tuesday. I think we said actually there's more likely to be a 50 basis points hike. And that's because the Bank of England governor spoke about the potential to see interest rates up near 5.75%, even 6%. So a 25 basis points jump did not make sense for the Bank of England. I expected a higher rate hike, which they went for. The problem they are trying to solve is it's actually the wage growth in the UK. The wage growth in the UK is what's keeping inflation sort of sticky at this moment in time, as well as energy prices and things like that. Energy prices have come down slightly, but we probably won't see the effects of that just yet. Again, lagging indicators. So it's what the market sees sensible to price in, because do they see it more sensible to price in the fact that the UK could go into sort of recessionary mode in terms of we're going to start seeing unemployment rise, which is an after effect of hiking interest rates, which the Bank of England want to see. So there's that catch-22 really. And what I mean by that is, if you're unfamiliar with the term catch-22, is there are arguments for both sides of the situation. Is pound going to get stronger because the interest rates are going to go higher? So that encourages investment. However, they are hiking interest rates because inflation is really high and they want to bring that down, which then encourages less spending and things like that in the economy. So yeah, it's a really tricky balance at the moment. And that's being said in the, we've just seen the Federal Reserve chairman as well talk about the need for further interest rate hikes in the US. And you've got to think, well, we were on the lines that the US were nearly done with those interest rate hikes. And essentially, we're going to see a pause in the next meeting. That doesn't seem to be the case now. Federal Reserve Chairman thinks that there's a chance that they could go again in the next meeting, and then even one more after that. So again, does that encourage investment into the US dollar because there's potential for rates to be higher there? And then, you've got the play on hands there. So the yen pairs, this is why the yen's quite interesting at the moment. And the reason why, the likes of dollar yen is moving higher and things like that is because you've got to then consider the carry trade, right? So I don't know if anybody's heard of the carry trade. Let me know in the comments if you have heard of the carry trade. But essentially, you'll be paid to hold these positions because the currency that you're holding has a higher interest rate than the yen, right? So you've got that sort of interesting situation there. So in theory, why the yen could be devaluing so much is because funds know they've got that carry trade there as well to be taken advantage of. So that's something to also consider going forward. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, let's go talk about some markets. Hopefully that was a breakdown. I might do a bit more of a breakdown tomorrow. I might do some shorts, but you can see here, dollar yen, really interesting market. We're breaking above the 142 handle at the moment. Let me just actually put me in that other mode down through here. So we're breaking through the 142 handle, which were these highs that formed back in November of 2022. So where's the next stop for this? Well, next stop for me is all the way up here at the 145.50. So this could be something that we could take potential advantage of. Again, going down into that sort of 4 hour, even into that hourly time frame. We've got the 20 and the 50 moving average in line. We just need to wait for a pullback situation at the moment. And that pullback could happen. It could come back to the 142 handle for a retest before seeing a considerable move to the upside. If you did manage to catch this kind of mover down through here, and, you know, catch that break above the RSI again, you'd be in above that candlestick high, and price has rallied 130 pips to the upside. So that would have been a nice move to take a hold of. Like I said, I was actually CAD yen long. I like the idea of being a buyer of CAD yen. CAD's been a stronger currency at the moment, so I wanted to take advantage of that market. We traded above these highs in here at the 105.84. And yeah, basically what was happening was we saw this on the weekly last week, right? Big move through the 104.50 handle. Let me just zoom that in so you guys can see that. Big move through this 104.50, which was almost this sort of neckline of this double top pattern that formed. And the neckline kind of formed around about September 2022. So basically this here where price broke down. And we were actually watching to see how the market reacted when it came into this point. And I think actually, Vincent, you were looking at CAD yen at this point, if I remember rightly. And I said, well, you know, we've got that close, but we still need to see the lower time frame start to push to the downside to give us the sort of initial idea that we could trade lower. However, from a fundamental point of view, there was nothing to tell us that price was going to move lower, right? And then that happened. Price broke through to the upside. So again, it's kind of saying to yourselves, where can I position myself, or where's the next likely area for price to go? Well, we have this whole area up here, this 110 handle, maybe even lower. If we want to be really conservative with our targets, what we could do is kind of open it up to sort of here, right, where these kind of opens and closes are. So that is around about the 108.80 handle. So there's a potential for price to just come up into there before finding a rejection. But again, dollar yen's on the move to the upside. You know, fundamentally, this market could still continue to push higher. So, you know, what we saw was a breakthrough close. Then it's, okay, well, how do I position myself next week? Well, if we kind of looking at the strategy that we're applying here at the moment, look what happened. Well, on the 4 hour, we moved sideways. We came back into the 20 and the 50 moving average. RSI went through the 50, back through the 50, which gave you an entry on that candlestick there. So you've got that sort of move to be had, or could have been had, if you were following this little move that we've been talking about most recently. Again, entry, we're looking at entry, stops and targets, 2R or the 180, 108.40. Nice little return there for the week. Okay, so that's how we looked at that one. And again, now we can just build another position. You know, where's the next stop? Well, we know the next stop's a lot higher. What happens though if price pulls back? So if I just move this over a little bit, what happens if price trades back down into this area again? We've got the 20 and the 50 moving average, and the RSI goes like that. Well, let me just look for opportunities when the RSI passes through. Can that mean there's another move back to the upside? Okay, so CAD yen still something to watch. These yen pairs still something to watch as we approach these resistance levels. But I think this is where we're going to get the return still at the moment. And it's quite interesting to say that because of how aggressive CAD or how aggressive yen's move recently. Vincent, I didn't get the reaction needed to try CAD yen. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, that's what we discussed, wasn't it? It was the fact that price came into this level here. And what we said was, if it's going to be something to watch out for, we've got head and shoulders potential. Okay. If it trades through it, and then you get the crossover of the 20 and the 50, just to confirm it visually for you, then you've got the opportunity to potentially trade down. However, we didn't get that. Price broke through. From a fundamental point of view, we were looking for those buying opportunities, and yet price has continued to the upside there. So yen still very, very weak, still looking for that continuation there. Like I said, the only sort of situation we've got now is obviously that situation with the Bank of England. How are the Bank of England going to react to this, or how's the market going to react to this latest announcement from the Bank of England? Because we could see it actually turn negative for pound. Like I said, because the market could be, or the UK could be pushed into a recession. So there is that also that situation that you've got to be aware of. The day if the hiking of interest rates also has an effect sort of on the inflation with regards to wage growth starts to come down, unemployment starts to rise, that kind of accumulates as bad data, doesn't it? And we'll start to see pound start to lose a little bit of its value. One thing I would say, though, at the moment is, weekly still very bullish. We're still above the one spot 26.50. Depending on how the dollar turns out, because I was expecting the dollar to actually trade a little bit lower. I did not expect Powell to come out and say there were more hikes to come at the minute. I thought they were very sort of, I know it was a hawkish pause in their last sort of meeting, but I thought maybe they would probably pause again before hiking once more. But he's come out and been very, very vocal, very hawkish. So we'll see how the dollar reacts here. We are back down at the 102 level. So we'll see if we get a bounce. I think a breakup of this high here at the 102 spot 80 for the dollar index is going to be the key tell to see what happens next for the US dollar index. Trade above these highs is probably back to bullish mode for dollar. If we can trade back below this low, for instance, it's back to being a bear and looking at the sort of 101 handle as the next supporting point. So that makes sense, guys. Any questions so far? Let me know. Morning, Denise. How are you? Your Bitcoin call, by the way. Absolutely spot on. Have you seen Bitcoin? Look at that. Break into that 3,500 area. Very, very nice move. So we had some actual news overnight, didn't we? Or over the past couple of days of some funds getting involved. I think it was BlackRock, wasn't it? Getting involved with Bitcoin. We also saw the Fed kind of talking about Bitcoin as well. And yeah, it sparked a sort of big rally into, or a big influx of investment into Bitcoin, which was, BlackRock looking at a Bitcoin ETF. So some institutional news coming into Bitcoin there has helped you move there. Big move into that level. So very, very good. Yeah, rode it up nice, Denise. Yeah, let's check out US 30. We'll check out the FTSE as well, because obviously Bank of England reaction. The FTSE is an interesting market to watch at the moment. We're obviously going to see the interest rates have an effect on this market. And there's a potential for price to come a little bit lower, I feel, on the FTSE. Now, I have drawn in this trend line here that comes from the lows, and we are at that trend line at the minute. So we could see a potential break of that. But there's obviously a clear level down through these lows at the 67, sort of 50 area. Or actually, we'll make that 67. We'll make it 67.60 we'll go for. Okay. That 67.60 is going to be an important level if price can get down to this area. Whether it does that might be a little bit of a big ask. But, the last few times that we've been down in this area, price has found support. So, if that's an area, especially if it breaches this low around about the 7,200 area. If we can breach that, then the move down to the 6,760 is not a bad opportunity that we could be looking at on FTSE. Again, if you're looking at it from a weekly point of view, broken down, everything's sort of bearish here. If you were looking at that sort of 4 hour waiting for the crossover, we've now had it. Like I said, I'd like to see price kind of trade through some lows. We're kind of trading at lows now at the 74.40. So if we could kind of trade through that low there, it could open up a bit more of an opportunity for some downside, perhaps down into sort of this area, down through here, which is that 7,200. Alternatively, price pulling back into here might not be a bad shout either. Price can sort of break through the top of the averages here, so we'll have to be a little bit of aware of that. But something in and around these lows might be something to consider as well on the FTSE as we move forward. Higher interest rates won't benefit the FTSE, and we could probably see a turnover here as well. So definitely something to watch going forward. Let's go check out US 30 then. I don't think I've got that on my trading chart, so I will pop into here. Just grab the Dow Jones. Okay, so yeah, interesting market as well. I can see probably why you're looking at this market. We're in and around these highs here, aren't we, on that weekly time frame? Again, all stock market's looking very similar at the moment. We'll look at this sort of long-term trend line down from those lows. I don't know if you can see that. I think my face is in the way. Down from this low, COVID lows. So we've got a long-term trend line running through there. Again, just kind of a bit of a tighter trend line running through. So yeah, we're at a bit of an area, aren't we, where price could start to leak a little bit lower. Again, Fed talking about hiking rates. Are we going to see a little bit of a move higher for a little bit of move lower in the stock market? If we take a quick look at the S&P 500, still coming a little bit lower on the S&P. Although obviously we've switched again back to that sort of risk on markets. So, will that momentum essentially continue? Let's have a look at the VIX index, because obviously the VIX continues to the downside, then we're probably looking at that risk on rather than risk off. So I think the argument between sort of the situation on the Dow Jones versus the FTSE, well, the FTSE is in a situation where the Bank of England have got to really hike rates to try and bring inflation down, whereas the US have brought inflation down. They're just looking to turn the screw a little bit tighter. Whereas obviously the UK have got a lot more to do. So the FTSE is probably a little bit more vulnerable than the Dow Jones. And you can see here from this VIX index, we're still trending lower here on the VIX as well. So until that changes, really, we've got to see some volatility increase, I feel, in order to see a huge change to the likes of the stock markets, really. So yeah, although from a technical point of view, you've got that sort of bearish rejection at the moment. Daily's pulling back down. 4 hours starting to potentially see it a crossover on our averages. It's not enough to make me want to be a seller, to be honest. If anything, you're at support in here. What I'd want to see is price trade through the support and then kind of open up. So if that's what you're looking for on here, Vincent, then that's what I'd be waiting for in particular. Let's go check out our favorite. Let's go have a little look at gold. Gold's starting to now push to the downside. We talked about dollar index starting to gain a little bit of momentum. Gold is also trying to follow that path now, coming down towards the 1890. So is this somewhere as well where we can start looking for a little bit of a opportunity from that gold weakness? Good morning, Estelin. Hope you're well. Denise, I took profit yesterday. I'm waiting for a pullback to re-enter. Awesome. I think that's on your Bitcoin trade. Yep. That's a really awesome trade. So if anybody followed Denise's advice on or what Denise pointed out to us on Tuesday, then you would have had a really good opportunity. So yeah, 1890 is the next point of interest for us here. So if I go down into those lower time frames, you can see we're starting to get that sort of rolling over now of gold. Let me just go back to the 4 hour because the hourly is a little bit messy. Again, let's just bring on sort of our here's again 20 below the 50, which is good. Oh, didn't want to do that. And we got our RSI definitely pointing to the downside here. So now we've got things kind of opening up for us here on gold. There is a potential opportunity. What we'll have to do is just wait to see if price can give us that pullback now. Can we see price trade back into this area here? Again, 2050 pointing to the downside. RSI breaching the 50, coming back below the 50. May give us an opportunity to trade down towards that 1890 support before we see any kind of change to the market there. So yeah, really liking this gold breakdown as well. So really the focus hasn't really changed from the start of the week, has it? That yen sort of weakness is in play, which we liked the look of. The only thing I did expect was probably the dollar to actually trade a little bit lower, but the dollar started to strengthen towards the end of the week. Whether that stays or not, well, is yet to be seen. Then obviously, you know, we've got a little bit of pound mixture at the moment, which we did expect the 50 basis points hike at the start of the week. So we'll see what the Bank of England have to do next in order to try and bring that inflation rate down. But gold looking good. Oil starting to push a little bit lower. Yeah, euro yen. Oh, unfortunately, euro yen didn't quite come back to the level. Actually, which was we talking about? Euro was. I was looking for euro was longs. Again, this is another market we've pointed out from the weekly chart. We wanted to look for long opportunities on this market, and it just hasn't pulled back quite to where I wanted it to pull back. You know, we do have maybe a little bit of a channel running through. Let me just see if that copies down. Yeah, but I didn't manage to get a position on this in the end, unfortunately. So we had the consolidation. I was looking to see how price reacted. We broke through. Okay, this was where we were saying, okay, let's set some alerts. We set some alerts around about the 1.6, and then I said we can either watch for two things. We can either watch for the 4 hour to pull back to our averages, which still we can wait for, or we could look for the hourly. Now, if I looked at the hourly, then, you know, I've got opportunities in here to have gone long. But no, didn't end up doing that in the end, and prices, you know, rallied on. It didn't quite pull back into that area where I was looking to see if price would come back into. So unfortunately there, Euro didn't come back to our entry point. So haven't taken an entry on this one, but when it crossed back below the 50 and then came back through, you know, that has rallied 150 pips to the upside. So unfortunate with that one, I think. I'm just going to have to sit out and wait now and just to see if price can come back down. And then we'll see if we can get a bit of a pullback into that one there. Denise watching to see where the dollar closes today. We have PMIs tomorrow. Yeah, we do. It's going to be another interesting day tomorrow, actually. We've got a lot going on from a trading perspective. If I can just grab... Let me just grab a new tab. Yeah, so yeah, we've got all the flash manufacturing PMIs, services PMIs out of Europe, UK, US. So it's going to be an interesting day going into tomorrow, isn't it? Because there's so much data coming out. And again, we could probably see it all change towards the end of the week. So Yeah, Denise, I'm in pound yen at 181. Set my stop at break even. Nice work. 181. Yeah, nice. Just down in this little cluster here. Yeah, nice. Nice. To be fair, I ended up banking 2 trades on pound, one at break even on pound US dollar and one at break even on pound yen. Unfortunately, I just didn't like the price action going into the risk event, and I closed out. So I actually closed those positions before. I actually then went long on CAD yen instead. So CAD yen was a sort of nicer sort of setup for me. So I ended up going long CAD yen. So we'll see if this one can continue to ride out as well. But price coming up to that sort of 110 is what I'm looking for here on CAD yen. Right, guys, any questions? Might leave it here for today. We'll go see what's going on later tomorrow. Let me just play you this June promo that we've got going. So remember, guys, there's a possibility to win a bit of a trading station. Hey traders, your professional trade station awaits. Yes, that is right. Blueberry Markets are giving away a professional trading setup. To apply, capture your current trading setup, post it to social media, tag in Blueberry Markets, and remember, terms and conditions apply. So I pressed the button before I was going to explain there, but you can win a trading station with Blueberry Markets. There's a nice little promo going on there. So if you are looking to upgrade, then head over to the website, have a look at the June promo, and there's a potential for you to win a professional trading setup worth over $3,000. So keep that in mind. I'm going to cut it there, guys. Thank you for joining me today. Really appreciate all the comments, questions, and things like that as usual. And have a good rest of your day. If you do have any questions, just leave them on the video after on the replay. Make sure you head over to YouTube and then head over to the live tab. And then, yeah, I will speak to you. I'll speak to you very, very soon. Cheers, guys.